This is CNN Newsroom with Lynda Kinkade.
The stage is set for what could be a historic summit to end the war in Ukraine. U.S. President Trump and Russian President Putin are scheduled to meet in the U.S. state of Alaska next week. They will discuss a potential peace deal that could call for Ukraine to cede territory to Russia. President Trump suggested the meeting with Mr. Putin could happen soon as he hosted the leaders of Armenia and Azerbaijan for a separate peace deal signing at the White House. The potential ceasefire agreement between Russia and Ukraine was presented to Mr. Trump's foreign envoy, Steve Witkoff, during his meeting with the Russian president in Moscow on Wednesday. The proposed deal would freeze the current lines on the battlefield.
You're looking at territory that's been fought over for 3.5 years with, a lot of Russians have died, a lot of Ukrainians have died. So we're looking at that, but we're actually looking to get some back and some swapping. It's complicated.
Well, amid the push for peace, Ukraine's president says Russia continues to mount fresh attacks. Volodymyr Zelensky says there were more than 100 Russian drone strikes overnight, followed by airstrikes and assaults on the front line during the past 24 hours. Jill Dougherty is an adjunct professor at Georgetown University and, of course, former CNN Moscow bureau chief. She joins us from New York. Great to see you, Jill. Thanks for joining us.
Oh, I'm glad to be here. Thank you, Linda.
So now that a date and location has been set, just explain for us the significance of choosing Alaska, a U.S. territory that is geographically close to Russia, but also historically tied to it.
Yes, I mean, this is big news, I think, the location, because there was a lot of discussion, where could they meet? And one of the factors actually was that President Putin has an arrest warrant by the International Criminal Court, which neither Russia nor the United States recognizes the jurisdiction of. And so there were limited places where they could meet. But the choice of the United States is huge. I mean, it is something that President Putin wants. He wants to be, on the world stage, and meeting in the United States is really significant. And then, as you mentioned, the history. I mean, Alaska used to belong to Russia until the United States bought it. So I guess we could laughingly wonder whether President Putin would want it back. But in any case, that's where it's going to be. But I think the, just that significance of being in Alaska, and then the other things that President Putin has won from this. I mean, you have his demand of, that he not meet with Zelensky. He got that. Apparently, he has territorial, at least the agreement that they're working on now, territorial concessions from the Ukrainians. The sanctions, which we were talking about just yesterday, a very big deal. What would happen with the sanctions? They're temporarily off the table, we think temporarily. So there are a lot of significant gains that President Putin has made even before he steps foot in Alaska.
And one of those gains, of course, is the fact that there is no Ukrainian leader at the table. Zelensky is not going to be there. Could this, if they do come up with a deal, could this potentially cost Zelensky in Ukraine?
Well, I think definitely. And if you listen to what President Trump said today, he was not very specific in what he said at that news conference, but he did say that President Zelensky will have to get ready to sign something. And the implications seem to be that President Trump and President Putin will work something out, and then it will be presented to Zelensky. Now, maybe there is an alternate plan. Maybe there is some type of way that the United States will make sure. What are Zelensky's red lines? What could he never accede to? But at this point, it really does appear, with that phrasing, he'll have to get ready to sign something that I think Zelensky is going to be presented with a very strong demand to do something.
Yeah. And turning to what happened in the White House Friday, President Trump met with the leaders of Azerbaijan and Armenia to sign a joint peace declaration aimed at ending decades of conflict between those two former Soviet states. Russia, of course, has long sought to negotiate a permanent peace agreement. Just put all of this into context for us.
It's very interesting. You know, the timing, I think, of this is very significant because this is an area that probably a lot of Americans don't even know about. But the significance of this for President Putin is that Putin basically kind of did not do a lot of diplomacy in the latest war that took place between Armenia and Azerbaijan. And so you could say that he was pretty absent from this. And now the American president comes in, has a very big deal signing. It's actually not a final peace agreement because it's really more memorandum of understanding that they will move to peace. But still, a very big deal. And then it gave the opportunity to President Trump to hear from Mr. Aliyev, the head of Azerbaijan, praised for his ability to bring about peace agreements and bring peace to the world, and even maybe get a Nobel Peace Prize. So that was very much the theme, I think, of that. But it put Russia a little bit on the back foot, although it was not noticed. But I think in Moscow, it was.
Jill Dougherty, always great to get your analysis. Appreciate your time, and no doubt we will talk again soon. Thanks so much.
Thank you.